everyone, and welcome back to today's episode of A Brummie Wonders. Now, this one harks back to one of the earliest episodes that I did, which was all about Pittsford Street, Brookfield Cemetery, Key Hill Cemetery, Hockley Goods Yard, Mr. Tyre, and all those, and the Jewellery Quarter, and all those things that were going on at the time. Now, it turns out that was all actually 3 years ago, almost to the day. That was February 21st or something like that, 2021. And now it's February 19th, 2024. And it looks like project complete as far as the apartments that were being built just behind you. Here's the fence to Brookfield Cemetery, which I'm sure you may recognise from that episode. But over the road, yeah, it's all complete. And I saw in the news this morning that it was actually all the apartments in this new complex, which is called the GOODSYARD now, is, yeah, they're all up for sale, up for lease, up for whatever you want to do. So I thought it was a good day to come and have a look. Crazy. Things that have changed in the area in the last 3 years. Well, there's a clean air charge zone now. You can still turn up in a Ford KA from 2008 though, and you can come in your classic cars. They're all exempt. So yeah, that's how I've got in today in the Ford. As you can see, let's just have a look over here. Whoops. Teslas, very much the norm around here now. The electric vehicle madness trudges on. Again, I mean, even the last few years, the infrastructure of all that's starting to let itself down. We're looking at hydrogen now, but actually maybe we're just looking at not having cars completely and the 15-minute village. But that's another conversation. Go and Google it. So yeah, there's Brookfield Cemetery. Not much change there. I will have a little look around just to see Wagwan though. But the main point of today's video is just there. It's Hockley Goods Yard, former site of Mr. Tyre. Former site of, yeah, Hockley Goods Yard and Railway, whatever. So we're going to see what's going on now, eh? Exciting. Let's go. So I guess the first thing to actually check on is what the bloody parking situation is down here. Now, in the last video, this whole road was closed, wasn't it, for the works that were underway, which was this whole place. The whole thing. But it's all a bit crazy. It's a lot of room. So all of this has been. So at the moment, all of this side is parking now. But I can't see any charges for this yet. There's parking signs, like just there, the blue one. But yeah, I don't know if it's charging yet. But I'm going to have a little look around, see what the crack is. If not, got some lovely bit of free parking for the day, so that'll do. So still no clues about the parking. Yeah, still looking for that. Hopefully it's free, because that'd be a first at the moment in Birmingham. Everything's very expensive now. I did actually pay £30 for 12 hours parking last week at the B4 car park by Snow Hill. So yeah, things are getting very much trying to push out the drivers and the motors out of Birmingham city centre, which is nothing new. But yeah, I can't see any machines. So far so good. So it's absolutely unrecognisable compared to the last time we were here. I think the only point of reference we may have are those archways just down there, which you'll remember from the end of, yeah, where Mr. Tyre was. It was just at the end, wasn't it? And those tunnels went through to, well, it was part of the old rail system, and I think it was just how they shipped stuff around the corner. But here you go. They've gone for the very Gloucester-esque, old school, faux worn shipping yard kind of look, which I don't hate. So the goods yard there, the goods yard there. Public toilets by the looks of it here. Again, this isn't completely open, so I'm going to have to come back again when we can have an actual wander around this place. But it looks like project almost complete. Anyway, yeah, juxtaposition, eh? That's all the 1800s there. Here's where 2024 gets you. Haven't looked at the prices of these yet, but yeah, the poster was saying it was very much a make it your own kind of thing, and there's parking for you, there's everything. I think there's a gym, no doubt there's a Tesco, some shopping and amenities and bits and bobs like that. But yeah, not much information. What's this? Extension and internal extension, flexible food and beverages. Oh, right, in a tunnel. So here, when was this? 2023. Comments needed to be received by January this year. It looks like, yeah, they want to put food and beverage places in the tunnels down there, which it looks like they actually need planning permission for, which I would have thought they would have already had with this plan. But there you go. Let's have a look at this. What's this? Notice is hereby given that the above named council proposed to make this order under sections blah 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 the Road Traffic Act, so there's no waiting and no loading 8 till 6 for the length of Pinsford Street, or just a part of, not sure. So yeah, no doubt all this parking will disappear in the future. But bloody hell. Very cool, very cool. There's a bit of a storage yard here for their bits and bobs that they're not quite done with. Crazy. I mean, they've got a lot done, haven't they? And again, is 3 years a long time anyway to get shit done? Especially with the amount of money behind these projects. And I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it does look a bit bent and bowing from, like, I don't know if the plumb line was buggered, but this bit of wall actually looks like it kind of bulges in and out. But it might just be from my perspective, so who knows? Awesome. So I'm going to wander around the other side just to see if there's anything more to see from the kind of jewellery quarter, Vice Street end. Because there's not much to see here. There is an opening in that fence though, it's not particularly secure, so I might have a little walk in and see how far we get having a nose at those tunnels. But yeah, all change, eh? Kind of insane. But it's not ready yet, it's not done. I have found a parking thing up here, so we'll see if that applies to down there, which it may do. So yeah, moment of truth. What does this count as? This location doesn't tell you the road or where this applies to. So I'm not sure whether I have to pay or not. But the charges, £2.40 for the 2 hours, might go for that. So Pitsford Street, the ford between the pits that became the cemeteries. Brookfield's over there, Key Hill on the other side, which is what we're going to look at now, just to see if we can see any more of this this site from that side, because you can't see much from over here, to be honest. Beautiful. Now, I will say, the people who are wandering around at the moment, they're all very tetchy, and I don't know if it's the microphone or what. I have got a tripod on the back, but they all seem a little bit wary of me being around. And now I'm not one of those auditors or anything like that. I'm just here to have a look around and see what's changed. So another sign here kind of explaining what you can get in the new goods yard of the jewellery quarter. So there's 1, 2 and 3 bedroom and duplex rental apartments, jam-packed with amenities in the most exciting new neighbourhood in the jewellery quarter. So these are all for rent only. So as in the first episode, we just have a little walk down Vice Street here at the jewellery quarter. Is it the Metro? It's the Metro, isn't it? Stop. No changes up here. Have we lost the Banksy? Oh, they're still here too, of course. The Victorian urinals for the old workers. But the Banksy artwork here, which was the reindeer just on the wall, yep, that's survived. But no major changes to the main street. There you go. Legalised corporate graffiti. It looks awful. Well, that's me. That's my opinion. Now, what am I? And this was probably the most interesting part of the walk around last time, but the way the land just fell away at the end of here, making this feel very much like a plateau or an old defence system more than a town or a city. But can't know. I mean, yeah, these bits, obviously this is all in better quality than the old iPhone 5 days. So have a look at how just this building falls away. Now, I don't know if this was war damage or what. It's all a bit ropey though. Look at all that. So that's just the metro station itself there, which heads to Wolverhampton and all that good stuff. But yeah, a little bit more overgrown than it was even 3 years ago, so no one's looking after this particularly. It's absolutely dangerous as hell if you fell down there, to be honest. But yeah, we'll go down there again, which is Key Hill Cemetery, shortly, and have a look around. and see if anything has changed, but can't see anything really from this side regarding the new builds. It's just there. So that's the Hockley Goods Yard. Yeah, it all seems a bit more built up than I imagined. I thought it would be a bit more open plan like the docks in Gloucester. Obviously I'm wrong there. This is fun now. Look at all these old paper rounds that were just dumped. Can't see what year it's all from, but no one got the news that day. What a hole. Incredible. So back onto Hilton Street here, which had the little passageway that snuck us behind the cemetery, which I'm sure is still a thing. So I'm going to walk down there. More planning applications, hang on. Listed building for the installation of non-structural internal partitions. 8 Hilton Street. Don't know which one that is. We've got the Vegan Society now. I don't think that was there last time. Spectacle Works are still there. They were there before. Where's this? Oh, it was down there, wasn't it? The little alleyway. So let's have a look down there. Must say, it's starting to look dilapidated round here. No one's really keeping up with the facade and the state of things on the outside of their buildings. It's all looking a little bit sad. And yeah, these are beautiful buildings, really. So it's a shame to see. But I think that's just the problem. These kind of buildings aren't viable to repair, very expensive, and they're probably listed as well, so you can't get the materials which are required to do it legally, so they'll just get left to the dogs, which is a shame. Now, I can't remember if that was all bashed up before. I think it was. But what my plan is to steam it back to through here. This is pretty cool. Maybe that was flashing last time, wasn't it? Yeah, so I'm going to walk through here, down the old passage, back around the cemetery, get back to the car, probably pay for the parking just for peace of mind, because I need a wee. So I'll be heading out of the area into a pub or something, just for a little rest break. Then we'll crack on with nosing about again. But I'm sure, like, if you do go back to the old videos, they were shot on an old school iPhone, and we didn't have this wide angle, so I think it's worth the walk around again. I think it's, can't believe it, my bloody memory ran out already. I don't know how that's happening, but there you go. That's where I've just came down anyway. Here's Key Hill Cemetery, and the gem buildings, all kind of alluding to the jewellery quarter. Then it still is, really. It's still where all of the the jewels are. You can come here for your wedding bands and stuff like that. So all these old buildings would have been important at the time. People still can't drive, clearly. But yes, through Key Hill Cemetery then, straight out the bottom end, and we'll get back to the car, pay for the parking, and crack on from there. So yeah, we did get this last time, but the change in weathering. So this was all renovated not too long ago, like all this sandstone. But that's the real state of things after, what, nearly 200 years of wind and rain. And just there, still a thing, but the old urinals, the public toilets of Key Hill Cemetery, which we'll have a little nose down just to see if any damage has occurred since last time. And it's okay-ish. The toilets themselves are missing, but that's there, isn't it? Very nice, very nice. I feel kind of obliged to get a rattle on with this now, because I don't think I've got enough memory to do exactly what I wanted to do today. But it's a quick update. We will be back to see the next stage of opening with Hockley Goods Yard, because I think they're just getting it off the ground now, as far as selling it off and, well, renting it off and getting people in there. But it's far from finished by the looks of it, as far as the amenities and the other bits and bobs that will be part of the, what would you call it, complex in the next few years. And another thing I do actually mean to do is look around these graveyards again. Now I've done all of those talks and walks about the riots of 1791, I mean, they won't be in this graveyard, but there was a lot of moving and shifting about once they started taking the old graveyards apart. So some of those interesting characters were shifted to here. And I think one of them in particular is Baskerville. Man of Baskerville, house that used to be on Easy Hill, which is now kind of where the new library is. He was moved here against his will, even when he was dead. And he was... oh, we'll get into that. I won't spoil all the cool news about that one. But it's a bit interesting bit of history anyway. Wow. So yeah, back to the car, and we'll go from there. Little bit more of a view of the new GOODSYARD build from this side. Honestly, it looks completely different to what I was expecting, and we'll drag up the plans again from at least 2021, but I'm sure things have changed quite a lot, because it just doesn't look like what I had in my mind's eye, which was based on the computer graphic drawings that they released at the time. So disappointed at the moment. It's very much just another block of kind of personalityless buildings, squares, which isn't very exciting. How disappointing. There you go. So just to give you the view from Icknield Street, the main drag, the old Hockley GOODSYARD over there. So this was all closed. This wasn't a thing, repeating myself, but yeah. You'd think they'd put a parking meter down this end to make it quite clear that you had to pay, but it's all the way at the other end of the street, so I'm still not sure whether it's necessary to do. But here's the view of things now. It looks absolutely nothing like I thought it was going to. It seems like it's all been bulked out quite a lot. It's unfinished, but people are moving in anyway. And yeah, I don't know. Disappointing. And how long until all of these kind of brighter stony bits start to do that horrible leak of black crud when it rains a bit too much? Because that's an unaddressed problem in all new builds at the moment. You can look at Mass House as the main example, but anything that's of bright colours just seems to get all drippy and horrible looking after a year or so, because there's just no cleaning going on or upkeep as usual. And we can only guess at the bloody cost of the service charge in a place like this. Yeah, everyone's very anxious and not too happy about people filming around here by the looks of it. But there you go. Yeah, it looks absolutely bugger all like I thought it was going to. Don't know about you. There you go. I'm off for a bloody wee. I don't know where. You can have one round here without bloody paying for a pint, which is annoying. I'm still not sure whether to pay for parking or not, but it looks like everyone's parking down this end of the road to avoid parking at this end of the road. And something I have noticed over the last few years is I think the private companies who are running these parking spaces, their only places they have to worry about are the marked ones. Like you could park on a single yellow line for 24 hours and they won't bother you, which is bizarre, but that's privatisation for you. We've got a slight Brucey bonus here. I'm sure you remember from the old video, if you've just caught up on it, that Wallstone Lane Cemetery Chapel actually stood here with its massive underground kind of thing where they lowered the bodies, and the catacombs are just here down that hole. Remembering that this was all a quarry back in the early Birmingham days, and they were going to turn this into, a representation there of the archway itself, blah, blah, blah. Here's what it looks like back in the day. There's another drawing here where you can see the catacombs as well. There you go, a nice engraving. And I'd say, is that job complete when it comes to the memorial garden? There you go. Garden of memory. We can conceive that many persons will often repair for quiet contemplation to this peaceful mansion of the dead. There's a misty quiet above soars the spire of St. Michael. It is an island of peace among the city noise. And that's from a 1940 quote. So yeah, that's that. It's yeah, at least there's a bin. That's pretty good, isn't it? Useful. So it's on to Hockley Street now, and I'm going for a pint in the Jeweller's Arms. And a cool fun fact for you: during the when the lockdowns lifted a little bit because everyone needed the money, we came here for a pint with the dog and our friend Daddy Will, who actually owns the a double bass, I think it was, or a cello, no, it was a double bass from the Wurzels, and it was worth thousands of pounds. And I'm sure he went on to get a master's in double bass, or at least in classical music or something like that. So well done him. Yeah, basically the Google car came around here for Google Maps. We were all sat there, it was a lovely day, and yeah, we were caught sitting there, and we're forever in the memory of Google, as you can see here. That was pretty fun. So yeah, in we go, quick pint, quick wee, then on with the journey. So it's quite easy to be a cynic when it comes to these modern designs and the new builds and all these things that we are getting. I've just sat in that pub actually and read it's like a forum of people really on board with the design of this place. And you've got to take a step back sometimes and think maybe they're right compared to some of the shit that we have been getting. I mean, such as this. Things that weren't in keeping at all with the style of the area anyway. Yeah. So the main frontage is down there, there's Pixford Street. We're back on Vice Street again, and it looks like one of the best views you can get of the area at the moment from the other side is from the metro station itself, the jewellery quarter one. So I'm going to see if you can just walk in there. I don't think there's any barriers or anything like that, and get a view of it from that side, because apparently like one of the main things about this is making that particular tram stop interesting to London visitors and making this all look very metro and urbanised, which is something people love apparently. So I'm going to have a look down there, and just for comparison's sake, this is the kind of buildings we used to get. These are the newer builds from the millennium and probably the 90s, which are pretty horrible. So we're going to see if it's any better from down there. But as you can see, even the old buildings are starting to look absolutely awful. So yeah, be a bit less of a pessimist about it all and see what it looks like. I'm inside the little bridge that gets you to platform 1 of the station. You can get a good view of it here. So there's the goods yard, or the foam worn kind of mill style paintwork there, which isn't awful, is it? Now, not sure, people have started to actually just, I don't know if they're complaining yet, but will this fence disappear, and will there be an entrance to the platform from the new complex itself? It doesn't look like it because there's quite a drop there, but we'll have a look at both sides and see what it looks like. Right, so from down here, this is what you'll be greeted with when you turn up at the jewellery quarter. It's quite imposing. Apparently people were hoping it'd be taller, so people are a big fan of the multi-storey building now. I think they chopped 2 stories off, I'm not too sure, but obviously the plan's changed since I last came here. It was taken on by Sir Robert McAlpine and Legal & General, and I think when I was first looking at it, it was a Black Swan project. It was passed over. £100 million funding was there. It's a build-to-rent scheme, which we'll go on about shortly. But yeah, that's what we're playing with. And here's the little archway, which might actually represent the old artwork from before. From here you can see the building's not quite finished, but the construction itself's pretty much there. And now it's a case of moving in any commercial businesses, which we can all expect to cost a coffee and all the usual. I think the gym is already there, but I'm not too sure. And this is all part of like the perks of a build-to-rent scheme. Is your bills are generally going to be included, potentially, and also, yeah, discounts on gyms and discounts on whatever happens to be there. But this thing, which is a new thing, is build-to-rent from conception. So it's all about no one's ever going to buy this or own this, which isn't particularly, I mean, how we're raised anyway. It's all about owning your own stuff to raise a family and do all those old school traditional things, which obviously from the last few years, I mean, a lot of this is actually kind of pushed along by the fact that a lockdown had happened and people's, what would you call them? Just how they, hang on, I am going to think of the word. Yeah, their habits, their buying habits, their living habits have all changed since lockdown itself, which is why I say that lockdown was the start of the new age as far as the fourth industrial revolution and how this world's going to move forward, especially in these kind of cities. But it really doesn't represent the Hockley goods yard as I expected. A lot of design changes and amendments since the first ones were let out, and I think in 2017, and they were the designs that I was looking at in that first video, I believe. So this has been a project that's been ongoing for a long time, but once it gained ground and got signed off, obviously they've sped through this in the last few years, and they were expected to get this done by early 2024, and they're not too far off, really. So yeah, it's from above you can see a lot more as far as the configuration of the whole space, and there just seems to be courtyards in between. Apparently there's 118 parking spaces in that underground car park, which may be a part of your rent, but of course the whole act of owning a car is heading out of the window fast. And if you jump on your Uber app now, you can see that you can actually rent a car, all insurance, all in, just for the day, for a few days, whatever. And then, yeah, you don't have to buy it. Which, is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? Because it is getting rid of the whole upkeep and the MOTs and all that stuff. And the fact that it's technically a bad investment because you buy a car, especially these people who buy brand new cars, and then you spend half of that car's life, just kind of, maybe even more, 90% of that car's life is on your driveway or parked up. So is it worth buying anything? That's another conversation altogether, isn't it? But I don't know. For me, it's not all that, but for some, it's absolutely brilliant, and you can't take that away from them. Like, it's obviously better than what we have when this was just Mr. Tyre. This was just a warehouse that you could, I think it was just cladded from this side so you couldn't see the horror behind it. So now it's obviously a nicer thing to look at, but already that seepy white crap is happening, and I guarantee nothing will be done about it. Like, even here you can see some damp getting in there. I believe that's damp anyway, but it doesn't look aesthetic to me. It looks like there's just some points where the water is pooling and it's already, you know, causing mold or moss at least. And I mean, I live in an 80s build private estate on that Brookvale Park, which I imagine when that was built, it was an absolute outcry to the people because it's such a beautiful lake and area. And I think before that whole estate was there, it was just fields and old farms and whatever you want to call it at the time. So yeah, I bet it was horrible to see happening. And now I'm one of those people who just happen to live there. I'm probably like the fifth person to buy that flat, and that's just how things tick over. And you know, they're under 100 grand at the moment, and they'll probably continue at that rate. But I think the art of buying your own place is well and truly out the window. Is that a bad thing? Jump in the comments, let me know what you think. It's give and take, isn't it? Lesser of two evils. I don't know what the way forward is. I'm going to have another look over the other side onto platform 1, sorry, and see what the crack is over there. Just see if it grips me as much as the drawings did. But I'm not too sure. So that's kind of it, really. I'm just hanging around in a graveyard way too long, and there's not a lot more to see. Hopefully you can see how, I don't know, I'm fairly disappointed in the design. Let me just pan this round. It's just behind all those trees. So there's the view from the cemetery of this new, what was it, GOODSYARD, Hockley GOODSYARD. Yeah, the design's changed a lot from those exciting ones that we saw in the first episode 3 years ago. And this is what you end up with, which I think represents, well, it's very similar to a lot of buildings that we already have. But is that a bad thing? It's in keeping with all these new builds. Like there's buildings behind you now that look exactly the same. And they kind of resemble a 1980s library to me. But people are excited about it, so maybe I should get excited about it. Obviously, housing is needed. We need to move forward. A lot of this area was derelict. The fact that there was still a Mr. Tyre garage essentially, quite close to now. I mean, I think at least it's to 2017 at least. It says a lot about the need for moving forward in the area, and obviously with the lack of cars in private ownership shortly, those kind of places are unnecessary. So it's good to see something different. The higher you build them, the more they hide, so that's quite a good thing, isn't it? But beyond that, I don't know. It's nothing I'd ever move into, but they're not built for my generation, and I'm only a millennial. But obviously this is the future of the professional renter in the city. And I'm kind of going to guarantee that it's kind of people who are moving into the city who will be taking these on, who have new work or whatever else, professionals anyway. Definitely not for your run-of-the-mill just person trying to live life, but is anything new for those guys? I don't think so. But maybe a few of these houses, I mean, with all these kind of new builds, you are pushed by the council to throw some in that are affordable for people in the area. But I don't know if that applies to a build-to-rent thing such as this. But yeah, that's that. I hope you've enjoyed the catch-up. There'll be more to see when it's all open, and we'll go from there and have a little wander around. But in general, fairly disappointing in my honest opinion. But what do you reckon? Do you think this is good? Do you think they could have done better? Do you think it's better than those original designs? Yeah, this has been a Brummie Wonders. Thanks for joining me. Ta-ta.